Well, hello, everybody. It's episode 8 of Good Game. It's also the week following the Game Award nominees, and it feels like the Game Awards have come up in some way the past 3 weeks, but this is the granddad finale because we actually have the awards. And with me today, I have my buddy, Mr. Josh from Quest Mode, finally returning after what is it? I had DB Geek on, I had the Gaming Duo on.
I feel like it's been at least a month.
I think it's a 2-week break. I could be wrong. Okay. It might have been a 3-week, but it's at least 2. So good to have you back, Josh. Thanks for joining for our. You know what? I'm gonna give you a pop quiz. How many times have you and I, done a Game Awards collab?
I want to say we've done 2 before, but it's definitely been more than 2 years. But it's either been 2 or 3. I'm going to say 2, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
We instantly have a good game. He is right. We have done this twice. So the 1 year we missed I was thinking about that because we did this in 2019 where Josh and I talked about the Game Award nominees, and we had a 2-parter. We did the same thing last year in 2021. We didn't do 2020 together. That was the year we didn't do. So, but it's good. And now we get to do it in front of a live audience, which means you get to partake if you are here in the chat, like Casual Gamer, Brady. I did see earlier, I thought I saw somebody else earlier. Oh, Dogtag Duke left a comment. And guys, thank you very much for swinging by. You can also vote in the poll for what game was really missing out this year. And Josh, I don't know if you have it, but the 4 games I have is, because these are 4 games that were technically eligible, but didn't get nominated for a lot, is Halo Infinite, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, Bayonetta 3, and Sonic Frontiers. One of those in particular, I think I totally get why it's not here, but I don't know. Do any of those names ring out to you?
Even though I only played it for a little bit, I only played the first level. I think that Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, from everything I've heard people talk about that game, I think that's the one on that list that stuck out to me and seemed like it could have used a little more love. I have a game that I don't know if I want to spoil it now. There's a game that I played this year that I think deserved a lot more nominations that wasn't on that list. But of those 4 that you listed, what were let's see, it was Kirby, Bayonetta, what were the other 2?
Sonic Frontiers and Halo Infinite.
Yeah, and I haven't started Sonic Frontiers yet. I want to play that game, and Halo Infinite. I feel like it. I just hear more people talking negatively about that game than positively, so I don't know if it deserves.
I always have to emphasize to people that's absolutely true, but they're especially talking about that multiplayer live service component, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I do see Casual Gamer what's your opinion on Monopoly? We're not going to be talking about today. This is the one and only good game that we actually are kind of focusing up, because again, Josh and I have done this collab 2 times before, and when we did this, every time we try to pick, okay, let's have 6 categories in your channel, 6 categories in my channel, and every time each part was a half hour ish. So I'm if we're gonna talk about the Game Awards, we're gonna need an hour stream to do that 2-part 30 minutes. So I don't know. I enjoy talking about this because it's an opportunity to recognize. That's to me is the coolest part about the nominees portion, is because you're actually getting to see who did the industry consider amongst the best of the best. And kind of before that, we're going to get into a few categories. A lot are not going to make it into our list here. Just kind of give you prerequisite of what we're doing. Whoopsie, I had the wrong screen here. There we go. You guys can see on screen here, the categories we're going to hit is pretty much half of these. We're not going to do any of the best esports, and a lot of these some people might be hurting about. I'm curious to see in the chat if anybody's going to be dang, we're not hitting that. We're skipping Content Creator of the Year. We will be skipping Best Sports Racing and Sim Strategy. We will be skipping Fighting, VR, Accessibility, and Community Sport, Mobile, Ongoing, and Games for an Impact. For now, that's what I have planned. Josh, is there any of those that you are damn, I want to just mention something? I mean, feel free to, but...
The only one was I just clicked on I'm on the Game Awards website right now, and I clicked on the best sports and racing category. I did play Gran Turismo 7. I did not play any of the other nominees: F1 22, FIFA 23, NBA 2K 23, Gran Turismo 7, and Ollie Ollie World. I just want to say, despite all the microtransaction bullcrap that Sony brought upon themselves, Gran Turismo 7 is an amazing, fantastic game. Yeah. So just wanted to say that. And I would have no problem voting for that game if we were going to do that one.
The reason especially I just figured we skip it is because I just feel like, we don't have much to say about all these games because I'm assuming you didn't really play more than 3 out of 5 kind of a thing. But shout out to Ollie Ollie World. I actually thought that was going to get more love than it did. And I'm happy made it into this category. And I think this was the only one. If there was anything because I was a little bit reluctant to, there's not really much, just the mobile game. Nothing really for me to say, but I'm just I just want to say Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, that's been my most addictive game of the year. So it definitely doesn't deserve to be nominated, but that's pretty much it. I mean, best sim as well. I just think Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is going to clean this category. But yeah, everything else wise, there's maybe a little comment. And I went to the Halo World Championships, and there's no Halo event in the esports category, but also Halo Infinite is nowhere at the award show this year. So that might come up during this, which is technically eligible. Because the last thing I wanted to bring up, that this is really interesting as we get into this, for everybody curious, this is how the nominees are chosen, and I didn't actually know a part of this. So each voting, basically the entire media industry from all over the world, they all send in their top 5 choices in each category. Okay? So they're not just picking one, they send in their 5 best of that category, which is why a lot of them are at 5. But after the ballots are tabulated and the 5 games that appear on the most ballots are put forth as nominees, in the event of a tie, 6 or more nominees will be announced in a category. I did not know that. I did not know that it could, if it's a tie, that's how some are at 6. So that's kind of interesting because it seems like the past 2 years we've had 6 for the Game of the Year category. So that's basically telling you that it's tied there a lot. So I don't know if that catches your attention, but
yeah, I know it's interesting. I didn't know that. It just means if there's 6 or more in a category, it just means that some of them that there were some close calls. Yeah.
Close calls, yeah. And finally, you might be asking, why is Halo Infinite a part of that poll up there? The window was November 18th this year. That was the cutoff. If it had a public release, that means Somerville. That means Pentiment. That means Pokemon. Wait. I think Pokemon was on the 18th, actually. But still, technically, 18th was its first. Yeah, so Pokemon, the new Pokemon game. And something else that came out on the 15th. Sonic Frontiers, they were all technically eligible for recent releases, and Halo Infinite as a December release technically was. So that it depends. If you're counting the multiplayer I guess came out on the 15th, but the official campaign that was the 8th. So just prerequisites.
Yeah, I was gonna say next year, Callisto Protocol will be
eligible. Yeah, Callisto Protocol's missing out this year. I see Creature in the chat. I'm curious how many decks Keeps has now. I have 7. I have 7 Yu-Gi-Oh decks. But yeah, the winner of that poll is currently Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I'm in total agreement. That Kirby and the Forgotten Land is the game that got the least amount of love, that probably should have gotten the amount of love. I'm not saying it should have won Game of the Year or nothing. I'm just saying, I'm shocked to not see it in probably just best music. As somebody that's beaten the game, probably just best music. I don't know what else, and maybe Game of the Year. Those are the 2 categories I'm a little bit shocked to not see it in. But
did it get nominated for best family game?
That was it. That's the only thing. We're gonna hit that, but that's the only thing it got nominated for. So that's why I was a little bit shocked by that. But anyways, and Hannah agrees. Yep. Hi, Hannah. Okay. Josh and I are gonna bring our snubs every now and then as we go through these. But first, let's dive into a category that I freaking love, which is most anticipated game. Yeah, Josh, we're just going to dive right into this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So if you're watching this live, I'd love to see you drop your takes and share. What do you think, should be the winner? If you were with me on Twitch Thursday or Monday, I can't remember when we did it. You probably already did this with me. But if you're on YouTube, you have a chance to do that now. So for most anticipated game, you see here, there's Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which finally has a name. Okay. We can stop calling it Breath of the Wild sequel. Josh, if there's a weakest link here, what is it?
Ooh, that's hard, man. This is such a good category this year because
is good. I agree. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, next year is looking stacked, and all of these games I think look really good.
They do.
If I had to pick, I don't know.
For me, it was Hogwarts Legacy. I saw Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm like, a lot of people were stoked for that, but I got to admit, I would have swapped that out for Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I forgot that Spider-Man 2 is actually, they've actually publicly said, it's still slated for next year. For me personally, I think the one of these that I'm not, if I could see it slipping through the cracks and maybe I don't play it, this might surprise some people. It's Final Fantasy 16. Just because I can't see a world where I don't play any of the other four of these. But Final Fantasy 16 looks great. I'm also I prefer the kind of the more sci-fi Final Fantasies to the old timey fantasy Final Fantasies. So just kind of the setting of that one doesn't appeal to me as much. But I don't, in terms of just the gaming industry in general, I think all of these are massively anticipated. I don't think there's a game here that's not going to get a ton of attention when it comes out.
Yeah, I think these are all great picks as well. I'm totally with you. I think because 2023 is a stacked year. It's a really stacked year. Again, if there's anything I feel is missing, it's just Spider-Man 2. But folks chose these. There wasn't a tie, and it's tough to choose. I would say Tears of the Kingdom will probably take it, but I just feel like the marketing for that game has been so dry. So
yeah,
because of that, I'm I question that one if it would take it. I think Final Fantasy 16. I think Final Fantasy 16 or Resident Evil 4 probably will take it.
Yeah, I think that Tears of the Kingdom is a lock for this one. If we're gonna if we're voting on what we think will get the award at the show, I think Tears of the Kingdom is just the wait for that game feels like it's been
He's
so
confident.
long. Yeah, I'm pretty confident, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Next,
I will say. I will say just real quick, I watched the recent gameplay stream for Hogwarts Legacy, and despite that developer not having much of a pedigree, that game looks amazing.
It does, dude. I'm super stoked. It's one of those games that I don't intend to initially play. I'm just dying to hear what people say about it. It's kind of like Sonic, where I'm it looks great, but I really want to hear what people say about it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, same.
Super new category, though, that I think is really cool is Best Adaptation. Because we keep getting new movie projects and show projects constantly.
Yeah.
Do you see that slowing down anytime soon?
No, I only see it speeding up, or not speeding up, but just being more frequent, especially with PlayStation seemingly making an adaptation out of every major property they've got. Even Days Gone is getting a movie. It seems like this is something we're going to see a lot more of. And it just seems like with The Witcher having gotten such a sales boost and Cyberpunk having gotten such a player boost from their respective adaptations, it seems like this is a really effective way to market a game if you do a good job.
By the way, there's Brady and Hannah. They agree with you. Zelda's a lock. I'm in agreement, though. It just seems like, there's the gaming industry just keeps growing and it's not going to slow down. And with that in mind, this is a new category that I am totally happy seeing it stay. In fact,
me too.
Building up to this show, I was doing some research for our good game at the end of this, which we are still going to have. And I saw that there used to be a category, believe it or not, best game based off of movie. So that used to be a thing. So, and now there's this best movie or show that came from a game. We have Arcane from League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the Cuphead show, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted. And 100% weakest link here is Uncharted. Like, no question to me.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it was a bad movie, but like, it's just,
exactly.
It was okay, kind of a thing. Whereas the rest of these are like good to great.
Yep. I think it's amazing that we've gone from there being like people struggling to name a single good video game adaptation that's ever been made to a year where we have like 5 that are all at the very least pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. That's a good way to put it. Like, they're all pretty good, especially in this category. And you know what's funny? There was a Tekken anime this year. I don't think this was the year for Mortal Kombat. I think that was last year.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think there's something else I'm forgetting. So like, there's stuff that was left out of this category, which is cool. But no doubt in my mind, this is easily like sort of game of the year, which we'll get to. But like, this is easily between Arcane and Edge Runners.
That's what I was going to say as well. Yep.
Yeah.
And I would say, based off of the critical reception, I would say Arcane seemed like it got a better one, but I think that Cyberpunk might have reached more people. So I don't know which one.
That is a good point. I'm actually really with you on that. I didn't think about that. I think, I'm with you on that. I think Edge Runners reached more people, but Arcane's more like critically acclaimed. So that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to go to Cyberpunk also because that's fresher in people's minds. Arcane almost feels like it was last year. And it just does. League of Legends. Yeah. League of Legends isn't as, it's not as popular as it once was. I'm going to vote Cyberpunk. I think that's what it's going to get it.
Okay. I'll throw us off and just say I think it's going to be Arcane, because sometimes these people have proven that they sometimes I worry about recency bias, but then they prove me wrong, and they sometimes pick stuff that's from way back. So I'll just say Arcane, but I could totally see either of those making it. But as somebody that's watched both Cuphead and Sonic 2, they're both good. They're both good times.
You watched the Cuphead show?
Yeah, just the first 2 seasons. Yes, just the first 2 seasons. No, first season, at least first season. Anyways, okay. Moving on though, best debut indie, and there's kind of 2 different indie categories, but I think these are really cool because one, Josh, you like shouting out hidden gems, so to speak.
Yeah.
And these are the first games from studios that, like, this is really kind of their kickoff to show the industry what they can do. So for the best debut indie game, you got Neon White, you got Norco, you got Stray, you got Tunic, and you got Vampire Survivors. And I really should have read the studios that did these. But yeah, this is the only category I think you see Vampire Survivors anywhere. And I'm surprised because I think that was like, that's an indie game I have been hearing such an underground following forming for.
Yeah. Yeah, I really should play Vampire Survivors. I haven't, but I've heard so many people talking about how addictive it is. And from the footage I've seen, it looks like it's right up my alley. I should definitely check it out. And I have a Steam Deck, which is perfect for it. But
that would be good for it.
Yeah, but I'm tempted to say that what will win here, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, like good for them, but it's not my personal choice, would be Stray, because it got nominated for, we'll see, it got nominated for Game of the Year, but I don't think that it is the best debut indie here. For me, based off of what I've heard, I think Neon White and Vampire Survivors both stand a chance, but my personal choice here would be Tunic.
I'm with you, dude. Tunic's my pick too.
Yeah, I mean, that was developed by more or less one person. I know he had some help, but that's an incredible achievement. The game is so well designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the way that world unfolds and reveals more about how to play, like the whole manual mechanic, like the
manual mechanic is crazy, dude. If you guys haven't played it, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Yeah, and then the final puzzle in that game is just mind-bogglingly interesting. The way it works is so cool. So,
like, if you beat Tunic, you got an achievement, man. You deserve it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Without looking up any guide, I had to look stuff up, man. But yeah, and I'm with you. Like, it very much could be Stray here because, unfortunately, and in fact, I think I might just fast forward here to the indie category. Well, actually, no, I'll save that. But yeah, it's just unfortunate whenever you see an indie game get nominated for Game of the Year, because then it's like, it just kind of spoils it almost. But I am rooting for Tunic because, as you said, it's a super well designed game. It was made by just basically one guy that got help over time, and it's one of the most unique games I've ever played. So it's a great game. I'm personally hoping for Tunic, but 100% could see Stray. We'll be very pleasantly surprised to see Vampire Survivors, though. But, yeah. Okay. Moving on. Multiplayer. This might be a very much a me category. We'll see. But for best multiplayer, because Josh is a single player guy, games that you play with people, you have massively multiplayer experiences. Irrespective of game and genre, you got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You got Multiverses. You got Overwatch 2. You got Splatoon 3. And you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. Is there anything here? Okay, so Josh, you're not much of a multiplayer guy, but is there anything here you're kind of surprised to see here?
Well, I know Call of Duty got good reviews on the multiplayer side, so not there. Honestly, maybe this could shock a lot of people, but maybe Overwatch 2, just because I didn't hear anybody saying that game was. It just all the chatter around that game seemed to be about how it was like Overwatch 1.5. It's not Overwatch. It's not really a full-on sequel. But having not played it and having not been in that community, even people might even be saying that I'm sounding touched by saying that. I don't know, but that would be the one. And then Shredder's Revenge, like I just heard that was kind of like a really fun game that a lot of people really loved. But is it really the best multiplayer experience of the year? I don't know about that.
So I'm glad you mentioned those two, because to me, like, those are the two kind of shockers here, because Overwatch 2 had a lot of controversy, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like you said, is kind of like one of those small beloved games kind of a thing. So I thought it was really cool to see Shredder's Revenge make its way in here. When you see like Call of Duty, Splatoon 3, Nintendo's biggest multiplayer IP, arguably, Overwatch, and you see like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like arcade looking game nominated, so that's really cool on them. So nicely done. But and shout out to Multiverses too. But and I see like Brady in the chat saying like, I wouldn't vote for it, but hands down it's gonna be COD. It's like the most popular. Dude, COD's been nominated for this a lot and rarely ever wins. So don't think just popularity takes it. To me, I have a feeling. I actually don't know who will win this. I'm not sure. But as a multiplayer guy, I have played each of these games except for COD. This, in terms of quality, I personally feel it's tough, man. Because Overwatch is a great game. It is. Like, in terms of gameplay, it's rock solid. And Overwatch 2 is just kind of like revamping it, basically. And Splatoon 3 does the same thing. But I feel that Splatoon 3 is the overall best multiplayer package. When you consider what a multiplayer is, they got a variety of modes to choose from, a really nice progression system in it, and it's still a fun, unique game. And it's just a fun game, and I think as a package, it's great. Multiverses does some good stuff with the free-to-play system, but I would probably say Splatoon 3 here. I don't think it's gonna win, but I could see it going to any of these guys, honestly, but I think Splatoon 3. So
yeah. That's the one that, like, I probably wouldn't have paid for any of these games. I know Overwatch is free to play, so it's a Multiverses, I think. But if Splatoon 3 was free to play, I would have definitely jumped in, because I felt left out when that game released.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get Kirby's tombstone out of the way, shall we? So we have best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, you got Kirby and the Forgotten Land. You got Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. You got Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. You got Nintendo Switch Sports, which didn't make it into the sports category, interesting enough. And you got Splatoon 3 again. Yeah. Josh.
A lot of good games here.
There's a lot of good games here. Like, I have heard, like, maybe other than Switch Sports, I have heard like all these are minimum 8 out of 10. Like,
yeah,
they are all rock solid games. And I wish I could have played Sparks of Hope. And I have heard nothing but great things about the Skywalker Saga. So these all probably deserve to be here, especially maybe Switch Sports, just because it's a fun, literal family couch game. But, this is Kirby's category to me. No question about it.
100%.
You think so?
Yep. I do, because I do think it is going to get that almost like a sympathy vote that it didn't get nominated for other things. And I do think people are going to say, well, this is my one chance to vote for Kirby. I got to vote for Kirby. And, Lego Skywalker Saga, like we've gotten many Lego games before, even though that is arguably the best one ever made. I don't think people are going to vote for it because we've gotten so many Lego games, Mario plus Rabbids. I don't feel like enough people played.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo Switch Sports and Splatoon, I just don't think that those are gonna. My gut says those aren't gonna win. So I have Kirby on this one.
Yeah, I'm just saying Kirby, strictly speaking, because of just the quality of the game. Like I legitimately was thinking Kirby might make it to the Game of the Year nom because I was just hearing absolute praise for it. But I'm not shocked to not see it there. But like I think I'm with you. I think it'll get that sympathy vote for. And it's also a great game to boot while you're at it. So, yeah, we'll see. But it would be funny to see Kirby win here and then Mario plus Rabbids in the strategy category. It's like, Sparks of Hope and Splatoon 3 might get their times in their own categories, but Kirby's got no other category, man. So...
Yeah, but man, Sparks of Hope, I gotta play that, and I have a feeling that's a game I'll buy next year when it's on sale for like $15. And
it's a Ubisoft game, so you don't have to wait long. They usually put that stuff on sale, but if it was Nintendo published, you're never seeing that thing on sale.
Yep, totally.
This category, I'm kind of interested to see what we say because I don't hear you play too many JRPGs, Josh. But
I used to back when I was like a teenager and in my 20s, but these days I do not.
Yeah. Same. I'd say same here. I used to be very into JRPGs more than like Western regular RPGs. But for best role-playing game, believe it or not, and I was thinking about this, there's no Western RPG that was this year that really got people. So it's kind of, and you see that here because these are all Japanese made. Or at least from Japanese publishers and studios. You got Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And when I was thinking of this category, I'm like, I could only think of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. What other RPG was there that okay, Elden Ring is totally an RPG. Why did I not think of that? I don't know. Any maybe wills or thoughts on this?
If people in general do view Elden Ring as an RPG, which, to me, it's like, is it? I know it's an RPG.
Let me read the description of this. It says, for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. In Elden Ring, you can customize like holy hell. Like,
in that sense, I feel like Elden Ring is the hands down the game that's going to win this. I mean, I'm sure you can customize your character in all of these other 4 games, but in Elden Ring, I mean, like
you literally replay the game to make a new build.
Yes, and it completely changes the experience depending on how you play. I mean, you can go melee, you can go magic, you can change your class. It's got to be Elden Ring if that's the criteria and if that's what people are paying attention to. But having not played any of these other 4, in the chat, feel free to shoot me down.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that like I had a feeling that like the only ones of these I played was Elden Ring, but I was watching a lot of what people were saying about Arceus, and I'm actually kind of glad it's here. If anything, I was kind of rooting for Arceus. Well, I guess we should wait for that. But yeah, like it's just cool. I think these all deserve to be here, but also this was the year that Starfield wasn't released. So there you go.
Was there a single Western RPG?
I can't think of any, dude.
This year? I can't either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the year without it. It's the year without Starfield.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm with you. I think Elden Ring will take it. Yeah, no question, just based off of that. But who knows? Maybe we could get a pleasant surprise. I do see people already saying in the chat, like, it's easily Elden Ring, but Xenoblade 3 would be incredible, which I think is like the dark horse in this. I think if there's a runner-up, it's definitely Xenoblade 3.
Yeah, it's just weird because like I kind of think of Elden Ring as just as much of an action adventure as I do a role-playing game. You know,
and
those other four,
you know what? It's perfect.
Role-playing games.
That's perfect because that's the next category. Best action adventure. It's not here.
It's not here. Yeah.
Elden Ring is not here. But you know what is here for the best action adventure game combining combat and traversal and puzzle solving is A Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic. Now, curiosity on the topic of Elden Ring. Do you think there's something here that should be swapped out with it?
I mean, I would swap out Stray. Like action.
I think I agree.
Like Stray is by far, in my opinion, way more of just a pure adventure game than an action adventure game. I mean, there's only a couple of sequences that you are in danger of getting
creatures.
killed. Yeah, so that would be the one. But I think the rest of these games, man, what an amazing group of games here.
Yes, agreed. Super agreed. I don't think there's anything here that doesn't deserve to be here. Maybe other than Stray. I do see a couple people agreeing in the chat. Yeah, I think Stray is probably the one that should be swapped out, maybe with Elden Ring. But
for me, like I think it's hands down it's going to be God of War Ragnarok that gets it at the show. But
yeah,
and I might be giving away a little bit of my thoughts on the Game of the Year discussion here, but based off of my experience so far playing God of War, which I have not finished it, but I would actually give this.
Started it.
I would actually give this to Horizon Forbidden West. I think that the combat in that game it's great. Like it's just I love the combat in that game. It feels very it's challenging but not like frustrating, and it's jaw dropping, and and
talk about an adventure, man. You know?
Yeah. And the puzzles in that game, they're like, they're, even though I wish that frickin' Aloy would stop telling me how to solve the puzzles. God of War, from what I hear, has the same problem. I haven't
It has the same problem, yeah.
But and then I didn't play A Plague Tale Requiem. I think it's between those three. I think God of War Ragnarok is going to get it, but my personal pick would be Forbidden West.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can hardcore respect that. I think I have played. I'm actually happy. This is one of the few categories that I could say I played all 5 games. Nice. I'm like you. I'm wrong. I apologize. I have not played Forbidden West, and that really bugs me because that was one of my like 5 most anticipated games of the year, and I still haven't played it.
It is the like most beautiful and most polished open world game I've ever played. Hands down.
I'll bring it up in art direction, but I agree. Like from what I've seen, but. Yeah, I'm with you. I think God of War Ragnarok will take this. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's too much of a close race on this, but I very much, as an adventure especially, and like such inventive combat too, like trying to figure out ways of taking down the, these robot creatures. Because I played the first game this year, and yeah, like if it's the first game but improved, it's super intricate combat that you do. It looks simple, but it's not. It's very strategic, so
yeah, I didn't see much improvement on the combat, but I do feel like the combat in the first game was so strong that they didn't need to. But yeah, on the visual side of things, oh my gosh, that game is just jaw dropping.
We keep transitioning perfectly because speaking of combat, best action game. This is just working out. And I do see Brady in the chat saying, I would say Forbidden West because of the open world. Yeah, the open world's gorgeous. And yeah, Hannah, I want to check out Plague Tale though. Play both games, Hannah. It's gonna take a bit, but super great. Well, I'll talk about that later. But for best action game for combat, focus primarily on combat, you got Bayonetta 3, which is the winner. Moving on. All right, next category. No, you got Bayonetta 3. You got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You got Neon White. You got Sifu. And you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge yet again. Big shout out to Sifu and Ninja Turtles. And actually Neon White. Like all 3 of these.
Yeah.
Big shout out to them making it in because that's really cool.
I really want to play Neon White, but I heard it was best played on PC, which is like if you're not playing that game on a keyboard and mouse, you're not getting the best experience. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but is Neon White like it's it is totally an action game, but it's you use the cards to do the combat. Like you use
I've heard
cards.
that cards. I think is from my understanding, and I haven't played it, but the cards give you your abilities.
Yes.
But it is very twitchy from what I've heard. Like it basically is. It pushes you to do speed runs of the levels from what I've heard. And so,
yes. Yep.
You really want to be on your peak reflex game.
Yeah.
For that.
But are we and Sifu's, I kind of have a comment about Sifu for later, but there's reasons why I am glad it's here, but are we in agreement? Like, this is Bayo's category to win.
For me personally, I give it to Sifu.
Ooh,
hands down. But so Bayonetta, I played Bayonetta 2 and it just wasn't my jam. Like, so I didn't pick up Bayonetta 3. Sifu completely opened my eyes to the beat 'em up category or genre. I was never a beat 'em up fan, except for maybe when I was a kid and I played like Double Dragon and stuff. But after I played
because
Sifu,
it helped you move on to Midnight Fight Express, which you loved.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is another one of my favorite games of the year. And so Sifu, it's so deep with how it just replayability is off the charts. I played each level in that game like at least 5 times, if not more. And just the way it pushes you to do better and better on each playthrough of each level just completely hooked me. And yeah, so I got to give it to Sifu. But will that win this? I don't know.
You don't know. I can do that. Like, I can root for a game, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna go to this though. Like,
I'm going all in on Sifu because
if it doesn't do it.
If it doesn't win an award this year, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
But it got recognized. Like, don't slouch that. It got recognized. It really did. But yeah, I definitely would vote Sifu as the runner-up. Like, out of these, I do think Neon White's combat is very unique thought of, but Sifu's definitely the runner-up to me. But I'm just like, from what I've heard about Bayonetta, like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry are like the 2 action games, like just ever kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So and I've heard like nothing but like 9 out of 10s from Bayo this go around. So we'll see. I don't know. But if Sifu does win it, I admit that'll be like a pleasant surprise to me. I'm not personally attached to Bayo winning, but that'll be a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, this is probably the category that I care about most this year. Or I should say, did care about most. That is best indie game, to which maybe this is your time to shine, Josh. Best indie game. This is not debuts. These guys, this could have been a debut for them, or they could have done something before. You have Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. And this was the bloodbath, dude. This was the year for indies.
It was.
You don't see Midnight Fight Express here. You don't see TMNT here. I don't know if TMNT was an indie game, but
Ollie Ollie World isn't here.
Ollie World. Yep, Ollie Ollie World. And I'm like, oh, there's 2 others that I'm forgetting that I heard nothing but like 9 out of 10.
Vampire Survivors.
Yep. This was the year for indies. Like, it was. So this category, I'm almost shocked to not see it get to 6. Like, how tough indies was this year.
Yeah.
If that's how 6 works and it's tied, wow. But industry chose these 5. And I say this was my favorite category this year because of how packed of an indie year this was. It's no longer that to me because Stray got nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
That's the one like bummer to this category because it just like it's obvious then, you know, like who's going to win this category? Well, one of them was nominated for Game of the Year. Why wouldn't that be the one that wins then, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, on this one, I think the one that's going to get it is Cult of the Lamb. That's if I'm voting for what the industry will vote for, I think it's Cult of the Lamb. For my personal vote, it's Tunic because I hope and wish that more games follow Tunic's lead. And what I love about that game is the lack of hand-holding and how the world comes together.
Such a lack of hand-holding, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it lets you solve the whole world kind of in the same way The Witness did.
Yeah.
I wish that more games would do that, and I hope that more games would do that. So my vote is Tunic. I think that the though, based off of the reception that it got when it came out, I think Cult of the Lamb is going to win.
Yeah, I see Jacob voting Tunic as well. And for me, I'm in agreement with you. My personal vote like goes to Tunic because for reasons you already said. I just feel like I haven't played a game like that in a long time, and I have heard some say like that is currently my game of the year. Like, and some say if Elden Ring didn't happen, that's actually my game of the year, kind of a thing. But Stray was just so mainstream, and that's how it got to maybe game of the year. I don't know. That PlayStation Plus strategy maybe worked out for this game. Who knows? Maybe if that Plus strategy didn't happen, this might not have happened as much as it did. But I have to admit, if I see Cult of the Lamb get it, I will be pretty stoked too. I'll be happy for any of these games, man. Like,
Me too.
No slack on Stray. Like just because it's nominated for stuff, like, and maybe for some things it shouldn't have been, no slack on it, because I thought it was a good game, and I think it does deserve to be in the best indie, but it was a tough year, man.
Stray for me, like the best way I can describe Stray and why I don't think it deserves to win many of the nominations that it's in is that game for me is like the definition of an 8 out of 10. Like that game is really, really, really good, but it's not great. Like in my opinion,
it is really, really good, and it's really unique too. Like I don't remember if it's in Direction, but if it is, I think it is. Like I get it. Well, I guess we should say it for then. But like it, we haven't gotten a game like Stray where you just play as an animal in that traversal sense, and them nailing how you feel like an animal. So it's like I totally will respect it winning that category. It just, that game of the year thing kind of takes it. But I'm with you. I'm rooting for Tunic. If I see Tunic win that is one that I am like ready for. So anyways, best performance. Josh, you still haven't played A Plague Tale, you bastard, but
that is correct.
Yeah, but we have her here. She finally got the nom. I don't remember if she got a nom for the first game, but for best performance, awarded to an individual for voice acting, motion, and/or performance capture. You got Horizon Forbidden West, Ashley Birch, who's Aloy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got Plague Tale, Requiem, Charlotte McCurney, who plays Amicia, main character. God of War Ragnarok, Christopher Judge, aka Dad. Kratos. You got Immortality, Man Engage, which I was confused about at first, but that Immortality is that game that's from the studio that made Telling Lies, and it's based off of like you're looking at footage from the past to put together what happened to this woman. And you got God of War Ragnarok, Sonny Soljic, I think Soljic, who plays the literal boy, aka Atreus. This is really cool to see them here, but I don't know. Josh, what do you think? Like, I kind of have a thought, but
based on, so I've heard
I've
heard amazing things about Immortality. I haven't played it. I have it downloaded on my Xbox, and from what I've heard, like I think that what's her name, Manon Gage deserves maybe to win, but based off of the industry reception and my impressions so far, man, I got to give it to Christopher Judge. He's just like,
he's so good.
He's so good in that game.
So good.
You know,
like there's some that don't want to see, I don't want to see Ragnarok and Elden Ring win so many things, but you got to give credit due where it's due, man. You just do. And Christopher Judge is just phenomenal as that character. Like, seriously, he rocks it so good. And as somebody that did play A Plague Tale Requiem, I'm really happy to see Charlotte McCurney here, because her performance in that game is fantastic. Like she and her brother Hugo get put through the ringer in this game, man. And some of the stuff that she goes through, you can feel it in her voice, like when she's going through this mucky, disgusting shit, or something really sad's happening, she just gets in it. So, but it might have been too dramatic for folks, which I could totally respect. And Christopher Judge, I just feel like he's in the character kind of a thing. He made the character his.
And it's such a nuanced character, like how he is dealing with everything from his past. No spoilers here, but how he's dealing with everything from his past, and then how he's trying to do his best to raise Atreus. It's like, man, what a tough line to walk, but he does it so well. Like it's a great performance.
But yeah, I mean, and you might be right. The girl from Immortality might deserve this most, Manon. And shout out to Atreus and Aloy for getting that nom. But I definitely think I'm with you. This is Christopher's category to take home. Who knows? Maybe for the final time if they don't continue.
Yeah.
I haven't beat the game, so I don't know. But I just know that it's a duology. So are they going to cast a new one again? We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. I have words about this one. Best audio design. Recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. You got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You got Elden Ring. You got God of War Ragnarok. You got Gran Turismo 7. You got Horizon Forbidden West. Josh, do you know why? Go ahead.
I was going to just say I'm going Horizon Forbidden West, but
that's pretty quick.
Whatever.
Pretty quick.
Hopefully I didn't spoil what you were saying.
That played Gran Turismo 7, because I haven't, like, I like that you just instantly went Forbidden West. Why did you go instantly Forbidden West?
Just because from a technical standpoint, everything about that game is so good. And I can't take credit for this argument. I heard this on a different podcast, but maybe it was kind of funny. I'm not sure. But someone made the really good argument of like, nobody knows what a robot dinosaur sounds like, but they nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything is like made from scratch. And you can say the same thing about Elden Ring. Nobody knows what a dragon sounds like, but we've seen dragons before. We've seen monsters before. We've never seen robot dinosaurs before Horizon Zero Dawn. And they nailed it. They just made them sound so great. And again, everything from a technical standpoint in this game is amazing. So I would give it to that. And you were going to mention Gran Turismo. What were you going to say about that?
Well, no, I was just curious because you played that, and I always think like car games and shooter games are always going to be in this category, like for understandable reasons. Like if they nailed it, then they nailed it, and that's something that's always like very like they get in here because of how authentic they are.
Yeah.
And they probably nail it. And Casual Gamer, you're going to Home Depot. Hope you can listen to this as you walk, but if not, thanks for swinging by, bro. And Brady's with you. Like, he agrees on Horizon Forbidden West for you, so there you go. But to me, I tell you, I get why Turismo 7 and Modern Warfare 2 are here, but this is one of the two categories that I am, like, snub. This is fun. We haven't gone over snubs yet, but, like, this is one of my two categories. Halo Infinite should have freaking been here. I am very, very disappointed in that. But I think the game might just have too much, I don't know, bad talk potentially. Like, it had a great launch, but then the rest of the year, people just keep talking about the live service component. And maybe that's why people couldn't think of it. They have too many negative emotions to think of it. But the sound design in that game is the best in the entire series. And I say that as somebody that has played every game thoroughly. Sound design's phenomenal in that game. And I'm very sad this is the year that it would have been eligible to be nominated for, and I'm very sad to not see it here. I don't know what it would have swapped out, because I'm with you. I think Horizon Forbidden West should be here. I think God of War Ragnarok as well. Elden Ring, I debate. I maybe would have swapped out COD or Elden Ring, I think.
Yeah. That's a good point. I don't ever remember playing Elden Ring, and I played that game a lot. I don't ever remember thinking like, man, this game sounds incredible.
Yeah.
But it's probably great, but I just don't know if it's standout.
They had a lot to put in the world in terms of like, well, I don't know. I'd probably swap out Elden Ring here, but this is one of my two snubs. But who will probably take it? I think I'm with you. I'm kind of rooting for Forbidden West on this one because they had to create a lot of sounds. So
yeah. Speaking of snubs, I don't know if we have any more indie game categories to go over, but
sure.
Just one indie game that I do think should, I wish it got nominated for something was TinyKin. Love that game. Just want to give it a shout out.
I totally forgot that TinyKin, for that best indie game category, TinyKin would have totally been. It was a bloodbath, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The indie category this year was a bloodbath.
Yep. And that game, I'm as a fan of 3D platformers, that's one of the better ones I've played in years.
Maybe debut game, but it's just, this was a bloodbath for indie games this year, man. That's all it is. Like, I'm with you. I love that game. Like, I really like that game, but we have the second, 2 back-to-back. This is the second one, Josh, that I thought big snub. And I'm curious if you know it. Best score and music. For outstanding music, inclusive of a score, original song, and our licensed soundtrack, you got A Plague Tale Requiem. You got Elden Ring. You got God of War Ragnarok. You got Metal Hellsinger. And you got Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Josh, what was the snub of this category?
I'm looking at the games that I played this year, and I don't know if I see anything on here that...
Chat, what was the snub in this category? I think if people know me well enough, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
And this one, surprisingly to me, I would actually give it to Elden Ring, just because, man, when you start that game and you get that opening, that screen with that logo, and then the score
that is
behind,
a dope, yes,
like that is a dope ass score.
When the Game Awards orchestra is gonna start up, we're all looking forward to hearing that.
Yep. Yeah. So I got to give it to Elden Ring, but I'm curious what your snub is, because I can't think of one. Did chat get it?
I see Brady saying Titus said Xenoblade 3 has a beautiful music. It does, and honestly, Titus.
Oh, I know what.
Titus is the way I have listened to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 music. Josh, do you see what Brady put? And is that what you're thinking it is?
I didn't see what he put, but before I even look, is it Sonic?
It's not Sonic, but
a lot of people were saying Sonic deserved to be here.
The music in Sonic, I have listened to it. It's great. Like, and I'm actually I can understand. I don't know if I would have put it over these, but I can understand. But
Halo?
No, it is not. Like, I wanted Halo to be in here. But I think Halo, the only category I'm like, that better get nominated, because that's absolutely like, that needs to be there. It was just audio design. I wanted it in best score because I think they had 3 composers for it and they did great, especially for the campaign specifically, which is the part that people loved. So it's like, but no, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, yes.
That game soundtrack is so slapping bonanza awesome, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that Wu-Tang song is amazing.
The Wu-Tang song, dude.
Good call. Yeah, that should have been here.
If anybody listens to Kind of Funny, you have heard Tim Geddes say this, like, Blessing, like, that soundtrack has no right to be as good as it is, and I'm very sad to not see that here. That's probably the biggest snub of the year in my opinion. But
I actually completely agree, because I didn't even play that game, but I did listen to that Wu-Tang song, and I should listen to the rest of the soundtrack.
When you play the game, super short game, by the way. I'm happy to play with you because it's like 2 hours. But like the first time you go on an air course where you're like riding skateboard, it sounds like it's Journey. It sounds like it's Journey in the background. Not the game Journey, the band Journey. Yeah, it's dope. But yeah. And Plague Tale's soundtrack is actually really great. I am happy to see it here. Like, I don't know what I would have swapped out for TMNT, because these have great soundtracks. Believe it or not, I think I am kind of against you on this. I might have swapped out Elden Ring for TMNT.
Wow.
Okay. Because I love that main menu, and I do like the soundtrack in that game, but there's nothing in it that I feel is iconic except that main menu.
And that is a good point. I can't remember the music from...
Exactly. Like, that's the only thing about that game I find iconic. I can recognize tracks from all these. And Metal Hellsinger, it's built for the game, so that makes sense. And they licensed a lot of heavy metal singers for that game, which is a feat in itself. But yeah, I would swap out Elden Ring for TMNT. And I with that, I can see how Halo wouldn't make it in, because I think everybody else deserves to be here. Oh yeah, but who would win? Probably Ragnarok. I'm not sure about this one, but I got in my head probably a Ragnarok. I'm not sure though. You think Elden Ring?
I think Elden Ring is going to win. Yeah.
Okay. I see Brady. What is metal? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what metal is though. It's very polished. It's very scratchy. And best art direction you got.
Yeah.
For outstanding creative and or technical achievement, artistic design, and animation, you have Josh's favorite category. We could say Horizon Forbidden West. We're moving on. No. You got Elden Ring for art direction. You got God of War Ragnarok for art direction. You got Horizon Forbidden West for art direction. You have Scorn for art direction. And you have Stray for art direction. I have to be honest, I think all 5 of these are deserving. I think all 5 of these are great. I don't know if there's anything here I would have swapped out. No, I don't think so. And I'm very happy Scorn. Like, are you happy Scorn made it in this?
Totally. Actually, I mean, I think from the brief time I played that game, it wasn't for me, but
same. Yep.
It is a gorgeous game. And it, more than any other game on this list, it goes all in with its art direction. Like, it has a look, and it just, I can't say it any better. It just goes all in with that.
It goes all in. There's nothing like it. And that's why, like, previously I was really sad to not see a game called The Ascent last year get nominated for art direction, because that game's art direction was phenomenal, but people didn't
really
nominate
good
it.
Game.
Yeah, but and not even just like graphic wise. I'm talking about like the design of the world.
Yeah,
and Scorn is that. Like, if anything, if I saw Scorn win this, which it won't, I'm like, I mean, I understand. It's not gonna, but I understand. Like,
yeah, like if the description for this category stopped at artistic design and didn't include animation, I might even give it to Scorn.
That is true, but it does include animation, and because it does, I think you and I are on the same page. I am super for Horizon Forbidden West taking this.
Yeah, and I'm surprised how many awards. I think this is the 3rd I've given to Horizon Forbidden West, because I don't think it's. I think in terms of like actual gameplay, it's not the game I would give it to for that. But again, on a technical level, I think it's the most impressive game of the year from a technical standpoint. And just every single NPC in that game, not story, like not games or not characters
like
that are important to the story, just random NPCs look outstanding, and the facial animations are incredible in that game. So
I was hearing that from reviews, and that was something I loved hearing, because something I was really bummed about when I played the first game this year is it has that like Mass Effect, like I'm standing still talking to you kind of a thing.
Totally.
But then people said like the side quests in this game feel like they put the same love that they do in the main quest kind of a thing in terms of art. Like, that's cool. Like, that on it alone almost makes me like a little bit like, okay, that should be recognized. Like, making the side quest as fleshed out as that, and visually, I mean. But I think we're both agreed to Horizon Forbidden West. I mean, if anything else takes it here, then cool. But I think all 5 of these deserve to be nominated. That for sure. I did too. This is actually the one where I think Stray probably deserves to be nominated the most, because like it also like has a very distinct look, and that cyberpunk, that kind of like cyberpunk world populated by robots, super unique and cool. Loved that world is lo-fi the video game. It really is. It's super lo-fi the video game. Okay. And I do see Nike joined. Did we pass music? Yes, we did, Nike. But Nike's somebody that would shout it out. Like, music, he would vouch for Sonic Frontiers. But, all right. Best narrative. We're almost there, folks. Best narrative. For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game, you got A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, and Immortality. I think this is another one that I don't think anything here. Well, okay. How do you feel about Elden Ring being here? Because there's kind of controversy behind that.
Get it out of here. I don't think it deserves to be here at all. Like, if you have to get on the internet to figure out what the narrative is, it shouldn't be here. Like, and I know there are people who don't have to get on the internet, who probably read every single item description in the game and read every single piece of lore, but like it's too obtuse for it to, in my opinion, be nominated for best narrative.
Now, here's what I will like I am totally with you, Josh. I am. Like, when I saw that, it's in my reaction video. I see Elden Ring and I'm like, but why? And like, if anything, swap Elden Ring in this category with the action adventure category. But but to be a little bit devil's advocate, the lore in Elden Ring is very complicated, but that is a super well thought out world. Like, in terms of like the world, not like the story, not the characters, but like thinking of the religions or the creatures, where they come from, I question it. I'm like, how the hell did you think of this? And then I remember, oh yeah, he had J.R.R. Martin, whatever, to help. But in terms of the world design, so much, yeah.
I was just going to say, maybe they should have a category, world design.
Yeah, maybe. But narrative, yeah, I'm with you. Get it out of here. If you did get it out of there, what would you swap it with?
Oh man,
that's a good question. I don't know.
I'm gonna look at my list of games that I played this year.
Because that's the other thing. You say get it out of here, but then it's like, what narrative stuck with people this year? Because everything else here I totally get. Can chat think of anything? Because I do see Nike saying probably Horizon God of War here for the winner. I think I'm with you. I can't think of any other narrative though. Oh, yeah. Brady says Xenoblade. Like, yeah, maybe, yeah. Xenoblade probably.
That could be one. Oh, you know what? I've seen. I don't know if it missed the deadline, but based off of what I've heard about the game, is Pentiment. I've heard that the story in that game is really, really good.
It technically did not. Like, this was the year for it because we hit that at the beginning of the stream. So technically, it did not. But yeah.
And, I guess, but then there's like, there's Triangle Strategies, another one that I heard. All the games that were nominated for best role playing game. I mean,
yeah, that's where you pick and choose from, the RPG category.
Yeah, Live Alive is another one that I heard people saying great things about the story and how it comes together at the end. Okay. So that's one maybe.
So of everything here, what would you think for best narrative is going to take it? / would want to take it.
I think God of War is going to take this one.
I think so too.
I don't think Horizon Forbidden West did have a cool story. I like the direction that they took with it, but I think God of War again. God of War deals with some pretty like heavy stuff, and not like dark heavy. It's just like nuanced. Again, is a word that comes to mind for that narrative. A Plague Tale Requiem.
Super well written characters.
Yeah. Having not played a Plague Tale, I did play the first one.
Yeah.
I think that if the second one is any better than the first one, that one stands a chance. But I just think it's going to go to War.
Yeah. And also, I like how the last time I had you on, it's like Plague Tale Requiem was one of your most anticipated games. You haven't played it. Horizon Forbidden West was one of my most anticipated games, and I haven't played it. So like we played each other's like most anticipated, so we have to like balance it out. But as somebody that did play a Plague Tale Requiem, I can't tell you, like, when I saw it's the first name that pops up because it's alphabetically, I was so happy, dude, because that game is not a 10 out of 10 game, but the best part about it is its narrative. 100%. Yep. The narrative of that game. And I will say, I think the narrative, it has a rough start, but the narrative of that game, when you go through the entirety of it, it's like, okay, now I get why that rough start was there. It makes sense. This hurt, man. Like Plague Tale is a game that, like, I haven't been emotionally drained from a game's narrative like that. I think since Amori, which was at the end of 2020. I think Amori was the last time. Yeah, I think that was the last time a game kind of emotionally drained me. And I was just kind of like, that moment when you beat a game and you're just kind of sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's exactly what I was doing. I'm just like, I have nobody to talk to about this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, God of War Ragnarok will probably take it. But I'm everybody else besides Elden Ring, I think they all deserve to be here. So. And who knows? Maybe Immortality could surprise us.
Well, I was going to say, I think if Immortality was played by as many people as played these other games, I think it would stand a much better chance. But I just have a feeling that you have a lot of people who heard Immortality was great but never played it.
Yeah, but Immortality's still around because and yeah, Jacob, you're pointing out Pentiment did come out on the 15th, and yeah, before the 18th. So yep, Pentiment was eligible, but for game direction. And I'm going to read this description because this is one of the categories. I'm very curious about the conversation here. For best game direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Okay, you got Elden Ring, you got God of War Ragnarok, you got Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, and Stray. 4 out of 5 of these are nominated for Game of the Year. And in my opinion, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more innovative games here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about Sifu and maybe Tunic.
Well, I think
especially
both of those.
Sifu, but
I think both of those deserve more nominations. At the beginning of the show, I was saying how there was, or at least I kind of hinted at there was one game that I wish had gotten more nominations all around, and it's Sifu. I think that would definitely have fit better here.
It's such a unique game, you know, and that's why I'm saying for game direction, I think of game direction, like I'll never forget the year that Resident Evil 7 was nominated for this category. And I was like, you know what? It's alongside Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, but I'm totally for Resident Evil 7 getting it because it totally like took a big risk and changed that genre for that game or brought it back or whatever and went first person. That's a bold thing to do for a big franchise like that. So yeah, I'm totally for that winning game direction. And that's what I looked at this category for. I try to think of games that like took some big risks or reinvented something or whatever, or did something kind of unique. So that's why I'm like, you know, Sifu and Tunic, I kind of wish were here. But I do admit, I think Stray, I guess on that front, you know, it can't just be about how unique the game is, because it also has to be about how well it's executed, you know? So I guess I can see why all these games are here. I definitely think Elden Ring should be here because that's just an open world game that I just never experienced anything like, kind of a thing.
Yes.
But Ragnarok and Forbidden West are probably the only two I question. It's mostly, they're probably here just because of their quality.
They're high, but yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I'm glad you said that because like, here's I don't know if this is a hot take, but it might be. So you have the description of this category and it has the word innovation in there. My take is God of War, Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West are not innovative games.
Right.
They're just they're very predictable experiences.
They're nominated for Game of the Year for a reason. You know, they're super well produced, but exactly what you're saying, innovative, I don't know, kind of a thing.
No, like I've played Horizon Forbidden West before in all the other open world games I've played previously. God of War Ragnarok is a game that I feel like I've well, we'll get into this, but like I feel like I've played God of War Ragnarok before. Immortality, even though I haven't played it, I've watched reviews of it. I've never seen anything like Immortality. And I think that actually I'm going to say that that's the dark horse here. I'm going to say Immortality. Take it. Yep.
Yeah. As somebody that played Telling Lies, I have a bit of a different view on that front, but yeah, keep going. Sorry.
No, and that is a good point. Like if we're saying God of War Ragnarok, kind of like a carbon copy of
they did do some things different with Immortality though. Like the nutshell is like it does feel a little bit familiar to me because I played Telling Lies, but they do some things different here that is actually an improvement, which is cool. And it's still really unique. Like nobody else is doing something like it either. So I'm fine with that being here.
You know, no one else is going to make a game like Immortality other than the guy or the team that made Immortality. And Elden Ring, no one else could have made Elden Ring other than From Software. So like I think that Elden Ring will probably get it, but I'm gonna take a risk here and say Immortality is gonna get it because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah. We'll take. It's always frustrating because you want to give game direction. You don't like. Sometimes I don't want game direction and Game of the Year to get the same win, but sometimes it's well deserved. Like last year, I was like, I want It Takes Two to get game direction, but if it doesn't get Game of the Year, that's totally fine with me. I'm rooting for it too, but I totally get that it won't. But I want it to get game direction. I think I told you that, and I think it was the vice versa. Like, yeah, you don't get direction, but you get Game of the Year. So it's just a very interesting category. I have a feeling, because we're going to get to the next one, I think Ragnarok will take this just because people know that director and super great director. You know, he knows these characters. He knows what he wants to do with it. And that's another part of directing. It's not just necessarily about innovating, but it's also about like how well do you execute this world and bring your vision out, which is it's just something that should be recognized too. So if there's any snub here, okay, I don't know about Forbidden West, but I almost want to swap Forbidden West for Sifu or Tunic because those two games are super unique.
I completely agree. I would actually swap out both like Stray and Forbidden West for those two games, because I do think they both made choices that were, again, innovative and something that no one else had done, especially Tunic, but also Sifu.
Now, believe it or not, so I am actually for, I think I teased at this earlier, I'm actually for Stray being here. And that's only because I just can't think of any other game that I've played as an actual cat, that I felt like a cat, that I moved like a cat, that even like the little things of like, you could just scratch random things sometimes. That serves no purpose, but they just put that in the world because they want you to feel as authentically a cat as possible. And I'm like...
Or you can just take a nap.
You can just take a nap, yeah. Like, it's things like that I'm like, I have to respect the vision of that, and you did execute it well. Like, I'm with you. It's the most 8 out of 10 game I think I've played in a long time, but I still respect like what that team is trying to do, kind of a thing. But anyway, game of the year, the category that the very, I was gonna say surface level folks, but I want to think of a more kind word. It's the only one that a lot of people care about.
So this is one where there's 6, so there must have been a tie somewhere along the line. So
yes, if you guys are with us at the start of the show, we discovered that if there's 6 in a category, that means that it was a tie. And because there's 6 here, that means it was a close race this year for Game of the Year. Because you got Game of the Year, recognized in a game that delivers absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade 3. Which of these was the most surprising to you, Josh?
Stray, by far. Couldn't believe it made it to Game of the Year. Like, again, it's just a solid 8 out of 10 in my book, and everything else on this category. Granted, I am really out of the loop on Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Same.
But
there's somebody in the chat that is. Nike's here, yeah.
Just assuming that is as good as everyone else says it is, then I was really surprised to see Stray. And I would, between Sifu and Stray, as much as I love Sifu, and I think that's the game that I enjoyed more, I actually think I would put Tunic in its place, because I think that it is the world design and the innovation that game presented. To me, I would put it here instead of Stray. So yeah, that was the one that was the most surprising to me. Nothing else here. I was pleasantly surprised. So Stray was kind of like unpleasantly surprised to see that here, even though I don't want to crap on Stray. It's a great game.
Right. Yeah.
Game of the Year, I don't know. The one that was a pleasant surprise for me to see here is Plague Tale Requiem, because even though I didn't play it, I love stealth games, and I'm glad to see a stealth game get here in the Game of the Year category.
I need to follow you up on that, because I'm 100% with you. Like, it's in my reaction. The second I see Plague Tale Requiem, I am just like, no freaking way! And I freaked out like that, not because I wanted to see it here. I literally, in the previous episode of Good Games, somebody brought it up, like, do you guys think... Because we were trying to figure out, we knew Elden Ring would be here, we knew Ragnarok would be here, we were pretty sure Forbidden West would be here, thought maybe even Kirby, but we couldn't figure out what those bottom 1 or 2 games would be. And somebody said Plague Tale, and I'm like, as much as like, and the other person on the panel too, we're like, as much as we really like that game, I just don't see it being here over other things. But we do really like everybody that's into Plague Tale. It's one of those games that it's like, I feel like people want more people to have played it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And because those that played it really do love it, or the people that it hits really do love it. And I don't think the first game got the kind of recognition that this second game is getting this year.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's really cool.
At least in terms of like award shows, I feel like I can't tell you how many like hidden gem videos I watched, or how many like, independent creators on YouTube sung the praises of a Plague Tale Innocence. But now seeing it getting the mainstream recognition is really nice.
Yeah. And maybe that's kind of like not to bring in other things, but maybe that's how a Plague Tale Requiem and Stray made it in here. And I say that because Stray had like PlayStation's marketing backing. It was in a lot of PlayStation showcase shows or state of plays, and they also are like, it's going to be on PS Plus. And Plague Tale Requiem was in Xbox shows, and it was in Xbox's shows, and they're like, hey, it's going to be on Game Pass. So maybe that's how these two games managed to make it in, because they had that kind of exposure. Not to say that, that's I just think that helped. That definitely helped. Now, as somebody that played a Plague Tale Requiem, I'm happy it's here. 100% not going to get it because I tell you again, the best part about that game is the narrative. There is some clunkiness to it. You and I agree. Stray is an 8 out of 10 game. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, surprisingly, is like, I was wrong about this. I thought Kirby and the Forgotten Land had a higher Metacritic rating, but I guess Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has a higher one. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's higher than Bayo in terms of just like the highest rated Nintendo game, but I think the only 3 that was secure for me here is Elden Ring, Ragnarok, and Forbidden West. But
yeah, and I think they all deserve to be here. I do think Forbidden West, again, it's like it's a predictable experience. It's like in terms of the old school open world formula, it does it better than any other one does, but it is still that old school open world formula. So that
I do see there's some people, Nike saying, dang, people really wanted to be a cat, and Brady saying Stray is the weird one here. I think a lot of people are in agreement that Stray is kind of the weird one to see in here.
Yeah,
but
the thing, not to drag out this discussion too long, but the thing that I like, the thing I like about Stray is that when everybody first saw Stray and it was first revealed, everybody was like, that game looks awesome. Hope it's good.
I'm with you.
And I think it's surprising that game ended up being like pretty much exactly what people hoped it would be. Like, you get to roam around as this cat, and it did deliver on that front. But yeah, from a gameplay standpoint, it's, I don't know, just game of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So,
game of the month for sure.
Game of the month. That's a good one.
Whatever month it came out, game of the month. But game of the year, not sure.
All right, Josh. What's the should and could? Take this on.
I think for me personally, on both fronts, it's Elden Ring. Yeah, I think God of War might sneak in, but I think Elden Ring, it completely. I talk about how Horizon Forbidden West.
We're in agreement that it's between those two, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that. So I'll try to be short here, but Elden Ring. I talked about how Horizon Forbidden West is that predictable old school open world formula. Well, Elden Ring is the future of open world games, period. Like how it lets you go wherever you want. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't give you a bunch of question marks on the map to go explore. Like you just are let loose in that world and you can go do whatever you want. The difficulty discussion is not even part of why I think that game deserves Game of the Year. Like it's challenging, and I think it's great that it opened up a lot of people to that challenging Souls formula. I just like how open it is and how it changed the open world formula from that standpoint. And I think that's actually a really big deal in video games. I hope we see, for some reason, games didn't follow Breath of the Wild's lead, but Elden Ring did. Yeah, and now I hope that more developers do what Elden Ring did in terms of creating that really more open world structure in their games. I think the one reason I think God of War Ragnarok has potential to win here is because I think it has an even broader appeal than Elden Ring. And there are a lot of people who still weren't able to get into the Elden Ring because of the difficulty, but God of War, which is actually a pretty challenging game, it's definitely more mainstream on that front.
Yeah,
but I do think Elden Ring's going to win. I think.
Okay, so I'm a little bit more mixed here. I'm pretty much leaning towards your side, I think, but you make a good point about the mainstream thing about God of War, because to me, this is a repeat of 2018. And do you know what I mean by that?
I'm trying to think. 2018. So we had God of War, and then we had
Red Dead Redemption 2. That was the year that everybody knew was between those two games. And Red Dead Redemption 2 was also one of like the best reviewed games of all time. It had a very steep climb of a start. But to me, that is still like one of the greatest open world games I've ever played. It set a new bar for me, and I wanted that game to win for that reason. You know, like I can't believe the little details that Rockstar put into this, and oh my gosh. But God of War was just such a more universally it grabbed more people because you kind of get what you want much quicker. Because I admit, Red Dead Redemption 2 had a bit of a steeper climb. And this year, I think Elden Ring is kind of a Red Dead Redemption 2 situation, other than Ragnarok is a sequel. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Ragnarok is a sequel. And it's a sequel that is still getting, like, and it's great to see that it's getting the same great reviews that the first game got, but it is a sequel. Yep. And there are some that are saying, you know, that they feel that there are some things that do stop it from being perfect, and that amazement of that like 2018 feeling isn't quite there, but it's still a great game. It just doesn't have that like my first time feeling. So if it wasn't for that, then I would have doubts about Elden Ring. But now that I say that, I think I'm with you. I think Elden Ring will take it. And I kind of hope it takes it too. I'm kind of with you on that. I hope it takes it too, because just like Breath of the Wild, just like Red Dead Redemption 2, this game to me set like a new bar that just kind of pushed that genre forward, kind of a thing. So yeah, and maybe God of War did that for Metroidvanias and narratives. Maybe, you know, but
yeah, and I just think that God of War Ragnarok is more. It is a older, and I don't know what the word I'm trying to find here is, but it's traditional. It's a more traditional type of game, whereas Elden Ring is new and fresh. And we've seen open world games for a long time, but it definitely pushes that entire genre forward. Where God of War Ragnarok, it pushes maybe narrative forward in games, but I don't think from a gameplay standpoint, I haven't seen anything in God of War Ragnarok where I'm just like, oh man, this changes everything, you know?
Controversial take, but my first like 10 hours with Ragnarok, I'm like, I kind of enjoyed the gameplay of 2018 a little bit more, surprisingly. In some ways. I don't want to dive into that much, but
I think 2018 started stronger than Ragnarok, personally.
I agree. But okay, so Josh and I are thinking Elden Ring, and I do see Nike saying like, aren't most of the games up there sequels? They are, but like there's a reason the debate is between Elden Ring and Ragnarok, and it's because Ragnarok is getting such fantastic reviews compared to the rest of these games. You know, like all these games are getting really good reviews, like 8 out of 10s, but like the only two that are like the highest bar that has been set this year is between Ragnarok and Elden Ring, and I'm not saying like sequels. Because sometimes sequels are way, like, Uncharted 2, I thought was vastly better than the first Uncharted in every way. Like, you know, sometimes sequels are way better. I think Plague Tale Requiem is better than the first Plague Tale. Sometimes sequels are better. Maybe Ragnarok is better to some, but it's just that amazement factor that I'm talking about.
In terms of, speaking of games that changed the open world formula like forever, Assassin's Creed 2 is like one of the best sequels ever made, and that's the one that pretty much laid the blueprint, as far as I'm concerned, for like what open world games are like. Horizon Forbidden West still follows that same blueprint that was laid down by, in my opinion, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Well, folks, those are our picks for the categories. We do have a good game to play that I want to put Josh through. But, Josh, was there any snubs here that you didn't get to mention? Like, for me, it was just, I was hoping to see Halo in music, but I wasn't really pulling for it. It's for sure Halo in audio design, and TMNT for score and music. That's the biggest one to me. I don't know if you got, like, 3 that you want to briefly mention?
Based off of the games that I've played, I've pretty much mentioned them all. I think the 3 that come to mind are Tunic and Sifu were big ones, and then TinyKin I just think was just so well designed and such a fun game. I wish I had seen TinyKin nominated for something. And then you mentioned it earlier, but one of my favorite indie games of the year was Midnight Fight Express. But I think that game, I loved it, and I had such a good time playing it. But I can understand why that game didn't get nominated. It wasn't as polished as maybe it could have been, and but I loved Midnight Fight Express. So just a shout out to that game. If you played Sifu and you're looking for more of that, give Midnight Fight Express a shot.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, if you want more, then that's a good.
Like, if you want to feel like John Wick, like, I can't think of a better game than Midnight Fight Express.
Midnight Fight Express is John Wick. Yeah, I know there's a game potentially in development, but yeah. Chat, let us know what your snubs were. I do see Brady saying Ragnarok gets better. It definitely starts out slow, though. Cool. That's actually good to see. I was very curious to see anybody mention that. Nike
Which
saying,
game was that? Sorry.
Ragnarok. So,
okay, yeah.
That's from somebody that's pretty far into it, I'm pretty sure. Nike, I would be surprised if Xenoblade wins, but if Stray wins, the internet will explode.
Yeah, I don't think that it stands a chance. But you just shout out though to those developers. Like, good for them. You know, they are getting like, they've got to be ecstatic with how that game has been received.
Yeah. I did. Oh shoot, I just remembered. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I don't know what else it could have been nominated for as we just ran through these categories. Like, as we go through these categories, we were pretty happy with most of them. A lot of them I thought were actually pretty gosh darn perfect. So I don't know where Kirby would have fit in. Like, maybe Game of the Year, swapping something out there. I do think Best Score, it might have been able to wiggle in alongside Halo. But at the same time, you know, when you make that call, you have to propose what would you swap out, kind of a thing. So
yeah,
that's the tough part whenever you make those calls. But Brady's like, I'm almost finished with God of War, 35 hours, I think. There you go. Yeah, Brady, thank you for letting me know that it might pick up afterwards, because that's what we need.
Yeah, I like it's. I wish that it wasn't as long as it is, because you saw that tweet I put out a while ago, like, there's like 5 games I want to get to this year, and I just don't think I'm going to get to all of them. And
if there's anything here that they mentioned, it's Cult of the Lamb and Horizon Forbidden West. Those are my 2 that I'm like, damn, I really wanted to get to those before this award show, but can't play them all. Nope. Brady's saying Kirby for action adventure instead of Stray. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But Elden Ring also wasn't in that category, so
yeah.
But pull Elden Ring out of narrative and put him in action adventure.
I think the one thing I'm surprised at, after going through this whole thing with you, the one thing I'm surprised with is how many, I think, again, surprises me, because, again, from a gameplay standpoint, I think that game is not Game of the Year quality, but from a technical standpoint, and based off of that alone, I think it does deserve to get some awards.
Okay, Josh. We're going to do our good game. We've been running a while, but chat, feel free to drop any final comments you got. If you guys haven't known good game, we still like to wrap up the show with a friendly good game that you can partake in, that nobody knows what's about to go down. And I haven't even told Josh what's about to go down.
I have no idea what to expect.
I have just told him that it involves trivia, and it's themed off of the show today. So what we're going to do today, folks, our good game is going to be a sort of like multi-choice questionnaire where the Game Awards. Josh, what did you tell me before the stream? How many of the Game Awards? How long have you been watching it?
I mean, I've been watching it ever since it was on. The first one I remember watching, even though I do think I watched one before, was where The Last of Us was revealed. The first Last of Us, which
when it was revealed. Oh.
Yeah, and I believe that was the Game Awards, where they revealed like an image of like some leaves and just the,
I feel
the
like that would be
title
2011, maybe.
Like,
okay.
But
I think that was around my first 2.
Yeah, I like that. That's how long I've been watching the Game Awards, so quite a while.
Well, we're gonna test that, because the trivia questions today, as we talked about Game of the Year, Josh here is gonna take a crack at what game won Game of the Year for these years of the Game Awards.
Oh, man.
Ever since even the Spike TV version, which Jeff Keighley was still one of the producers of. So it went from Spike TV and it built up to eventually the Game Awards with like one thing in 2013. I think it was like XNC. So I'm going to read off some games that were nominated for Game of the Year, and you're going to have to guess which one managed to take home the win.
This will be fun. All right.
Yeah, I thought that might be a fun idea. Chat, you are welcome to participate too. But yeah, and just background on me, like I love talking about this because the Game Awards is it's probably like runner up to my favorite event of the year, if not the favorite, because it's just fun to recognize games to me. That's the thing. Like, people always want to talk about who wins over, which we did, but I love the nominees, man. I love to I hope they read off the nominees. I hope they give them the time to light, because they never seem to do that the past 4 years.
Me too.
Because recognition comes from being nominated, and I almost love the nominations more than the winners themselves. It gives you an opportunity to reflect on what was the best of the best.
Yeah.
So
we didn't even talk about like the other aspect of the Game Awards, which is like, what do we think is going to get revealed? That's like a whole other show.
I might actually make that a stream like later on. So gonna give that a couple week break. But yeah, but in reflection of the Game Awards, who were the winners of Game of the Year? Let's start. Chat, I know there's no audio. 1 second, I will fix that. I need to fix something. Whoopsie. This is the live stream, chat.
All I see is you scrolling around the 2022 nominees page.
Yeah, the sharing screen thing is going to be a thing of the past, so you don't need it anymore. Let me copy and paste these, and then... Okay, now you guys can hear us, right? Yep, sorry about that. Thank you for pointing that out, Brady. Appreciate that. Chat, do we go from oldest Game Awards to newest Game Awards, or newest to oldest? You guys let me know in the chat. Oldest to newest, or newest to oldest? And speaking of the poll, the winner of that was, from the first poll of the stream, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Oh, wait, actually, no. Halo Infinite, Kirby and Forgotten Lands, 35 votes. It's like neck and neck. But yeah. They both said, like, Bayonetta 3 and Sonic Frontiers, very little, but out of 35 votes, they were Halo Infinite and Kirby and Forgotten Lands, like, tied. So, Nike says old to new. Brady says new to old. All right. We're going new to old. Okay. Because it's going to get progressively harder and harder. So, for the 2014 Game Awards, I'm going to actually move myself here. 2014 Game Awards.
Is that the oldest one?
The newest.
Oh wow! So we're not even doing like
Good luck of the newest games. Okay, for 2014 Game of the Year nominees, it was Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone from Blizzard, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Ooh.
So it's Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Which year won Game of the Year?
So I know that Inquisition won IGN's Game of the Year that year.
Yeah, talking about the main Jeff Keighley show.
Yeah, but I don't think that won at the Game Awards. So it's either... I think it's either Middle-earth or what was the one right before
Hearthstone?
Dragon Age. Hearthstone.
Oh, no, sorry, no. So Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
I'm going Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. That's my guess.
The chat's guessing that too. Oh, all right. I have a Dremel sound. Well, the winner is Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, dang it. It was that. Dang.
Game
so that got
both
IGN and...
Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition was the winner of 2014 Game of the Year. That's funny, though. All you guys thought it's Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Dragon Age, and I did not love Shadow of Mordor, so that's what I would have given it to. But yeah.
All right.
Surprise, surprise. All right, so not off to a good start here.
Not off to a good start. 2012.
What happened in 2013?
I picked random ones, man. They're gonna be jumping around a couple of years. So, game of the year for 2012, you got Assassin's Creed 3, Dishonored, Journey, Mass Effect 3, The Walking Dead, a Telltale game.
I remember this one. It's The Walking Dead.
Nice. Instantly, that is it. It is The Walking Dead, Telltale games. That was my first one. I think I recall like winning what game of the year. So nice. There you go.
I think I was surprised that when that won, but like everybody, man, just that game kind of blew everyone away. And then, I think Journey won again. I think the IGN won.
That's really cool though, because like that was like a super indie game that just got a big license, and it wins Game of the Year over Assassin's Creed 3, Journey, another beloved indie, Mass Effect 3, the conclusion to the trilogy. Like that was really cool to see that get it. So
yeah, and I think that talk about like I don't know how big of a role that played in Telltale blowing up, but I feel like it actually played a big role. Like, because Telltale after that just
when you get a game of the year, then you're set. Yeah,
especially when you're an indie, and then everybody's like, oh, I gotta play this game.
That's why I'm excited for that It Takes Two studio. Like they're just gonna keep going, man. I love it.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what they do next.
2009. So.
Oh boy, that was a long time ago.
More than a decade now. So 2009, you got Assassin's Creed 2, Batman Arkham Asylum, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
What a list.
I was going to say, of all the lists, this is the hardest. Assassin's Creed 2, Batman Arkham Asylum, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Uncharted 2. This is hard. Like, this is a good one.
It is. So the two that I don't think would have won, even though I Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was a hell of a game, so was Left 4 Dead 2. I don't think either of those two got it, but and I want to say my choice would have been Arkham Asylum, but I think Uncharted 2 Among Thieves I'm going to go Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Like that game, when it came out, it changed what an action adventure game could be. So did Batman, but I think more so Uncharted 2, like that opening sequence in the train, just the
games can be movies, games can be movies. Yeah,
exactly. So
the
I'm
first
going
game
Uncharted
tried to
2.
do it, but didn't quite get it. I'm totally with you. Yeah. Josh, that was actually a good guess because it was Uncharted 2.
Nice. Man, that's a tough one.
2. That was a good list, though. I'm with you. I would have voted Batman Asylum as well, but yeah, it's Uncharted 2 got it. That was a good list, though. I saw it. I'm like, oh, I put this one in.
And to my point earlier, I think Assassin's Creed 2 is one of the best sequels ever made. Like, Assassin's Creed wasn't quite what people wanted, but when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, it at the time I think arguably was the best open world game ever made.
Your reaction to the second you hear Assassin's Creed 2, ooh.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going. Asylum? Modern Warfare 2? What?
Yeah.
All right. That was probably the toughest one in my opinion. 2 more. So you gotten 2 out of 3 so far. Let's see if you could stay positive 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
2007. But some would deem as the greatest game year of all time, for somehow only had 4 nominees for Game of the Year. You got
wow.
So that gives you better chances. For 2007 Game of the Year, you got BioShock, Halo 3, the first Mass Effect, and the Orange Box.
So the only one I'm pretty sure didn't win, I would guess, is the Orange Box. Just because I can't see like a compilation winning Game of the Year, but with hindsight, I think the best game on this list is BioShock. At the time, it's between Mass Effect and BioShock. And I think both were Xbox. This is crazy. Look at that. That's 3 Xbox exclusives.
This is why the 360, man, it exploded.
Yeah. Which, funny side note, the reason those are Xbox exclusives is because the PlayStation 3 didn't come out at the time like that those were out. But anyways, I'm going to go BioShock. That's my vote.
Josh chooses BioShock. There's only one choice in the chat. I see Brady saying Halo 3. It was BioShock.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I'm like, oh, Halo 3, hands down. But no, I 100% recognize, like, there's literally a list that G4 did, I think, back in, like, 2011. BioShock was, like, the greatest game of all time on that list. Over so many other things, which is, I'm like, really? Yeah.
It's funny because, like, I understand why BioShock was so well received, but I never thought that it was, like, the god tier game that so many people think that it is. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but I was never the person that was like, yeah, BioShock is yeah.
Well, that's you're already 3 out of 5 pretty much. Wait, you're 3 out of 4 now. Yeah, so you're already positive, but this final one, I think you're going to get this final one. Based off the rate you've been going, the final one, 2004.
I didn't even know the Game Awards existed in 2004. It's 18
The first one was 2003, I think.
Wow.
So 2004. Oops, I'm trying to move this graphic on screen. 2004 Game of the Year nominees. You got Burnout 3, Takedown. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas. Half-Life 2. Halo 2. And Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
Dude, like, hey, Burnout 3 didn't get it. Those other 4, it could be any one of those.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw this. I'm like, it for sure was a Burnout, but those other 4, it could have gone to any of those. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Half-Life 2, Halo 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater.
So the ones that I think have aged the best are the middle 3, Grand Theft Auto, Half-Life 2, and Halo 2. I recently played Metal Gear Solid 3, and I don't think it aged that well, but that's pretty irrelevant to this argument.
Right. For the time, yeah.
For the time, it was, one of the best. All 4 of those were, like, among the best games ever made.
For the time, all 4 of those were, oh my God, they revolutionized.
I don't think a PC exclusive would have won, so I don't think it's Half-Life 2. I think it's going to be... I also don't think San Andreas... This is hard, man. This is really hard.
This is a tough one. This one and the 2009 one were the 2 that I was like, oh, these are good.
I don't know. I don't want to drag this out too long. I'm just trying to think of a good reason why between San Andreas, Halo 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3, I can't think of a good reason why one of those would have won over any of the others. But you know what? Like, okay, Halo 2 is, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's like as far as multiplayer goes, that's like the best Halo ever, isn't it? At least at the time it was
debating.
released.
Like, some say that, some don't. You know, it's usually between Halo 2 and Halo 3. Usually,
I'm going Halo 2. That's my vote. I think that one.
Josh, was it Halo 2 for Game of the Year of 2004? It was not. It was San Andreas. GTA San Andreas.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't think San Andreas would have won it is because that had been done, like that formula basically had been done twice before with Grand Theft Auto 3. Granted, that wasn't as good as Vice City or this, but then I think Vice City came out before San Andreas.
San Andreas is that GTA game that always comes up in GTA, like always.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because, like, you know, like there wasn't an open world. Like, literally, if you look into video essays for this game, people like Rockstar went too crazy with this game. Like, why is it this big? It's bigger than what Grand Theft Auto 5 is. Like, why did they do this kind of a thing? And yeah, so I could see it. When I saw it as the winner, I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I'm with you. I'm just like, I look at that list and I'm like, any of those bottom 4 could have got it.
Yeah.
Any of those bottom 4. But yeah, because Half-Life 2 is literally, yeah. Good thinking with the PC thing, because like today a PC exclusive might be able to, but back in the day, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah, and Halo 2, I just know that like Halo back then, Halo's not as popular as it was then, but back then it was so popular.
Halo 2 was like, I would argue, is like one of those first big game launches ever. There's like an actual news story about it. Like it was one of the first video games that was beating out the box office in movies, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, any of those could have got it, but it was GTA San Andreas. But you still got 3. You guys still got 3 out of 5. So that's
3 out of
good.
5. I'm above 500. Yep.
Only one of them you just straight up knew, so that's cool. I'm glad you at least knew one. Yeah, I think the Walking Dead one sticks with us because like damn, really, kind of a thing. So
yeah, I was living in San Francisco at the time. I remember where I was watching that award show.
I remember where I was when I saw Walking Dead win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Folks, that's been our good game episode today. Talking about the Game Award nominees, having a good game. And yeah, Brady's in the chat saying San Andreas was the GTA game before 5. I would agree with that, kind of. Like, I love 4, but yeah, this was a good time, Josh. I'm glad we finally 3 times now. 3 times, 3 out of 4. So it was good talking with you about what could win the Game Awards.
Absolutely. I can't believe it's like 3 weeks away or something like that until we get to see what wins and also, what gets revealed at the Game Awards.
Yeah. It'll be super cool. I'm really excited for it, but it's been good to have you on as always to do this again.
Oh, 100%.
Reflect on games, great games of the year too. That's the reason why I like this. It's an opportunity to just reflect on the year, kind of a thing. Even though we still have a month left and Callisto Protocol's a thing, but
I know. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's like one of the few. I think there are a couple of games coming out in December.
I do want to shout out somebody earlier said Pentiment for you're talking about game direction. You're talking about innovation and uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Pentiment. And I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not. Pentiment's super unique. But we'll see. But anyways, folks.
Yeah.
That has been our show. Josh, thank you very much for swinging by. Feel free to plug yourself in if you have anything else to share that you're working on. You guys can find him in the description. You can also see where he's at on Twitter on the screen. But yeah,
I'm working on, it's going to be right now. My content output is so slow. So I apologize for the drip feed, but I am working on a video of just the biggest single player games that are coming out in 2022. But it's going to be a monster video because there's so many games coming.
That is daunting, dude.
I don't know if you saw my tweet, but my initial research revealed like 55 or 54 games or something like that made the list. I'm going to have to trim it down because if I do that, it would be like an hour and a half long video. But
yeah, we can keep it up to 30.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. So stay tuned for that. I did recently do a review of a kind of a hidden gem that I discovered called Echo. It's a stealth game. If you like stealth games, head on over to my channel and check out my review of that. I really liked it. And I've got a preview of Starfield up. So if any of that strikes your fancy, head on over to Quest Mode on YouTube. It's just youtube.com/Quest Mode. I'm also Quest Mode Games on Twitter.
Yep. Twitter, the platform we'll see if it sticks around. But anyways.
Yeah. Twitter is in the shitter right now.
Is in the shitter. But guys, thank you very much for swinging by. This has been a fun episode. Apologize, it's been going on. But previously, Josh and I did this collab. And it's like 30 minutes apiece, but now we did it in one stream. Hope you enjoyed and hope you have a lovely coming up week and you have a good game and enjoy playing what you're playing. Don't forget to be Geek Proud Awesome, and I will see you in another video / potentially next time. Bye.
Adios.